What is going on, nerd? Welcome to the channel. Thanks for tuning in to the first video of Drift Month. I wanted to start this month off hot by not only posting on the first of the month, but also to get an actual in-depth video. Basically a video that has more value to the community than just does this car drift. We already have a couple stockpiled up and this is the first of them. With that said, guys, if you guys do enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like below and, well, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more of this Drift Month. Getting right into the video, you got to figure out where you're going to begin, and that's a lot more broad of a question than a lot of us current drifters might realize. To grow a community, you need to have platforms in place to allow that to happen, and I know there are people out there holding drift events and whatnot. That's great for the community, that really does help, but there needs to be more. There needs to be platforms like mine and others that do exist out there that are supporting it and making content regularly about it. With venues like these in place, you will get new people coming into drifting, and with people coming into drifting, they realize, well, it's actually pretty dang difficult. Of course, modding would be simpler than what we do. However, we don't need any mods to drift in GTA. So where do you begin? Well, first off, you got to figure out what's your goal. Where are you starting with the drifting? Is this something that you're just envisioning in your head and you're just kind of pulling some handbrake slides and some inertia drifts around the corners out there in the hills? Or is this something where you've been watching drift videos and you've been watching tutorials and you already have kind of been practicing? Because those are two completely different areas right there of where you're starting. I guess let's start it off right at the beginning. You should know the different types of drifting. First off, you have the popping your tires nonsense, which that ain't even drifting to us. Next in line, handbrake sliding and inertia drifting, where you're either pulling the handbrake to get around a corner and using the body momentum to slide around it, and or where you're actually just Scandinavian flicking to one side and using no handbrake slide. It's actually all inertia from the body, all body momentum. Now, that is still fun, still technically drifting, but not quite as advanced as the next two and the major two that you'll see many people using in GTA 5 Online. First off, and where I started, was single gear drifting. Single gear drifting is as it sounds. You're never leaving the first gear, and I know some people say, oh, there's no gears in GTA, it's all automatic. Automatic vehicles have gears. When you drive the vehicle in GTA, you can hear it shifting. It's shifting gears. So basically, this style of drifting utilizes all of the torque and speed from the first gear and also utilizes the handbrake or the e-brake to hold that vehicle in the RPM rate where it's not going to shift. The final style of drifting is really the most common you'll see. It's what you'll see the most competitive style. I call it the competitive style of drifting, but speed boosting, some people call it clutch kicking, even though there is no clutch on an automatic vehicle. I understand that. Needless to say, the speed boost drifting, second gear speed boost, all of these terms correlate to the exact same style of drifting, in which case it's the higher speed, more competitive style of drifting. The one that looks cleaner, the one that looks better in videos, and the one that, like I said, most people are utilizing. To do this style of drifting, you utilize the speed boost, and this is a drift guide, not a drift tutorial. So first off, if you want to learn how to single gear drift, go check out the How to Drift for Beginners video. If you want to learn how to speed boost, go check out the How to Drift High Speed tutorial. With the different styles and types of drifting out of the way, that brings in basically the next point. Your style is going to dictate your vehicle choice. So if you're going to single gear, some good choices are the Schwarzer, the Futo, the Willard Faction, the Mamba. If you're going to speed boost, you got the Rapid GT, the Schwarzer, the Banshee 900R. All of these different vehicles will offer different handling lines. If you go check out the Does It Drift series, Season 1 is all single gear drifting. It's 20 episodes of all single gear vehicles. Season 2 is all speed boost testing, no single gear testing whatsoever. So based on these few vehicle names that I've given you, you can go check those out in the seasons according to the style of drifting that you choose to do here, and that'll allow you to pick the right vehicle. For the sake of just having a well-rounded vehicle, I chose the Benefactor Schwarzer today, and this is definitely a great beginner vehicle. Doesn't matter if you're doing the high-speed drifting or if you're doing the single-gear drifting. You can also handbrake slide it, you can also inertia drift it, you can also pop the tires and go do whatever you call that. That ain't drifting. This vehicle runs $80,000 on Southern San Andreas Super Autos, but you actually can find it on the street. Now, just because you find it on the street does not mean it's free. It's just substantially less. You still have to pay a $10,000 insurance fee, and I believe $2,000 for a tracker. Don't quote me on that, but it's at least $12,000 to get this vehicle on the street. Although this vehicle does spawn on the street, it does not mean that it's easy to find on the street. It's not a very common spawn set. So we got our donor vehicle. Now it's time to get it to Los Santos Customs and turn it into a drift car. Now, the reason why this vehicle is such a great choice in the beginning all around is because of its very, very slippery handling line. It's like being on ice once you stance it. Now, stance is a specific term in real world, but it's differently used in GTA. We'll get into it here in a little bit. Your major things that you're going to do to any drift car, and what we're really going to focus on here, are your performance upgrades, the things that make it a drift car. So your engine, you need the engine, the highest engine you have. Now, thankfully I do have level 4, so we're going to get the level 4. If you only have the level 3 or level 2, it's going to have to do for you. It's definitely going to make the speed boost a lot more difficult though. Your single gear, you're still going to be able to practice, but most of the vehicles for speed boosting need pretty much all of these upgrades to the max. Transmission, all the way up. Turbo, we don't have it unfortunately, so this is a good example of what a lot of you will run into in the beginning if you're not over level 100, or have knocked out, as you can see here, I need to have 15 more races. Now with that said, a few other things to note. You usually don't run a spoiler because it actually does add traction, and well, hashtag drift car, we want slippery. Wheels are probably your final most important thing, and it's not what type of wheels you're running, it's don't put bulletproof tires on your vehicle. We'll get into it again later of why, but you will not be able to stance it. So there are plenty of other cosmetic things and other little things that you may not think affect your vehicle that have generally been proven in the community over time. All of these things exactly can be found in the How to Tune a Drift Car video. We kept this build pretty simple, and I'm even going to leave it the rental car silver that we found on the street. So before we get too much further into this video, I do want to stance this vehicle up. This is a pretty simple concept, and it should be easy enough to understand. The game does administer different damage to each of the wheels. Now this is designed basically to make it more difficult to handle when you do crash and mess up your vehicle. By just shooting it directly through the wheels like this, you'll see the vehicle drop twice. Again, I'll show you in the rear here. Watch the actual fender and how it translates to where it is on the wheel here. Here's the first drop. It's going to drop one more time. There you go. So you do that equally to all 4 wheels, and now GTA thinks that you have a very damaged vehicle. Well, thankfully, well, get out of my way, Prius. You have a much more slick handling line. It's like being on ice. Now, not every vehicle is the same on how to stance it. Some of them will blow up in the rear, and even when you're on custom maps, which we'll talk about a little bit later here, it takes twice as much ammunition to stance it up, so just be aware of those things. If you do want to learn more about how to stance vehicles because you are blowing them up and you can't quite figure out how to get around that, definitely go check out the How to Stance a Vehicle in GTA 5 Online video on the channel. So you got your style figured out, you got your car built up, you're out drifting. Now, basically, you're going to start getting bored of just drifting around in free mode. You're going to want more. And that's where, well, custom tracks come into play, crews come into play, social club in general comes into play. So if you want to be a GTA Online drifter and you don't have a social club account, that is definitely a place to go. Set up a social club account, start downloading some drift tracks. You can go right on the channel and go to the track download playlist, and you can download, I probably have close to 20 tracks on there, both for Xbox One and PS4. There are less for PS4 at the moment, but we are growing that as well. A lot of people do ask me, how do you download those tracks? And well, just go there, you click on the link that's in the description, it brings you right to the place, and you just hit download. If you're on PlayStation 4 and you're trying to download an Xbox One map, and like vice versa, it's not going to work for you. You do need to download an Xbox One specific map on Xbox One. And well, Rockstar has not made cross-platform compatibility a thing for us. Hopefully GTA 6 brings that though. So even with downloadable tracks, you will run into a little bit of boredom drifting by yourself. That's going to bring in the crew aspect, the drift team aspect, the competitions, the meets, doing things like that, and really that's going to come down to meeting people. Go out to those random car meets, go out to those random drift events. Even if you're not a great drifter, still it's important to go out there, show face, talk a little bit, kind of get a feel for what these people do, what they're a part of, and guess what? These drifters in GTA are usually more times than none willing to help you out. They want to see the community grow. Unless you're really wasting their time and you clearly just don't want to learn, you can usually count on finding some good people out in this community that will definitely help you get set up in the right ways. With that said, this video is designed to get you to that point. You started from the bottom, maybe not knowing very little to anything, and you've worked your way up with knowledge to know how to contact and get in touch with other people. With that said, guys, if you do enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like below and subscribe to the channel. It is Drift Month, so if you like the drift content on GTA, this is the month for you. We're definitely going to be hitting a lot of dense material like we did here today. With that that said, guys, as always, I hope you all stay happy out there. Please stay positive, and we will run into the fence. I knew that was going to happen. That's a tough angle to drift from. Definitely speak to you next time.